project. We're also going to hear from the City of Minnetonka and from a couple of administrators here at the University of Minnesota to talk about how this work fits into efforts that are happening here. And then we'll wrap up with hearing about our next partner, which is the City of North St. Paul. So thank you again for being here. Just a few key points. There's coffee on the table. Feel free to help yourself. Dessert as well. Feel free to head back if you're interested. If you missed iced tea or soda, that's out in the hallway as well. The posters will still be up after we're done, so feel free to enjoy those as well after we're finished today. We are on Twitter if anyone wants to tweet this event while you're here today enjoying the presentations. Our hashtag for today is RCPMTKA, RCP Minnetonka. So we hope you'll join us today in sharing a few tweets from the presentation that you're here today. So what I want to do today is share a little bit of information about what we're doing. I know many of you in the room have connected with RCP in a variety of ways. For some of you, this program is relatively new. I'm going to give a little bit of background and then turn it over to some other folks to talk about their engagement with this work. So again, I'm going to highlight our successes that we've had over this pilot year, where we've had now almost a one-year partnership with the City of Minnetonka. We're going to hear from Minnetonka and from U of M administrators, and again, kick off this new partnership, which we're really excited about with North St. Paul. So what we've been trying to do with Resilient Communities Project over the last year is to connect the University of Minnesota and communities to advance sustainability and resilience, and to do this in a new way, and I think a really exciting way that I'm very happy is yielding very, very innovative and interesting outcomes, I think, on both sides. So what we've done over the last year is engage in a one-year partnership with this single community, a community that has a really great history of engaging around sustainability and doing innovative planning, has a really great staff across the city as well as in planning who've been doing a lot of really great work and is very eager and motivated to work with the city. On the University of Minnesota side, we've had untapped opportunities, I think, untapped resources that we've been able to bring to the City of Minnetonka, creating opportunities for faculty and for students, which I think are innovative, exciting, and I've been very happy that it's all actually come together over this past year. So what we've been doing as Resilient Communities Project, as an entity at the university, is serving as a matchmaker. We're bringing together our expertise that we have in sustainability, community planning, institutions, and matching up courses that are relevant, active, important at the community level in the City of Minnetonka with existing courses at the University of Minnesota. And we work primarily with graduate courses at the University of Minnesota. These are courses that would already be offered. In many cases, they had projects, but in many cases, they weren't doing work in communities. So we're creating the opportunity through RCP and through the facilitation that we provide to provide opportunities to do important community-based work that focuses on sustainability and resilience, creating new opportunities not just for the university, but for the city partner as well. I want to acknowledge, before we go any further, critical support that we've received from two University of Minnesota research centers. We have support from the Institute on the Environment and also Center for Urban and Regional Affairs. Both provide us staff support as well as financial support that's been essential to us being able to even think about doing this work over the last year, and they'll continue to support us into the next year, and we're very, very grateful for that support. I also want to acknowledge the Sustainability Faculty Network, which is a network of faculty that's grown over the last 2.5 years or so to over 60 faculty from across a wide range of university departments and university colleges who are interested in sustainability education. They're interested in changing the way that we do education, promoting opportunities for interdisciplinary work, for enhancing curriculum, building networks among students and among faculty who are working in sustainability, and better communicating and talking about the work that's already happening here at the university, and emphasizing the innovation where it's happening as well. And this network has really served as a ready supply of faculty to connect in this first year with the work that's been happening in Minnetonka. We've reached beyond the network, but it's been a really critical base of support and I think legitimacy and a nice jumping off point for the work that we've done so far with RCP. So how does it work? Many of you in the room already know how it works. You're working on it every day. We have Julie was mentioning at the front table here, who you'll see in a minute, that she has to go to 5 presentations next week. She knows how it works, but many of you don't. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about it. So this year, we had a pilot that happened over the course of the academic year, the 2012-13 year. We worked on 14 projects that were identified by the City of Minnetonka, and we connected those with 25 courses that are located in 8 colleges, and those colleges are listed here from College of Design, continuing education, CFANS, liberal arts, science and engineering, law school, Humphrey School, education and human development. A pretty wide range. Not all of the colleges at the university, but I think a pretty broad reach into a really wide range of disciplines and areas of expertise. And I think another key piece within this is that we've engaged over 150 students. We don't have the final count yet, but really reaching a lot of students and creating opportunities that in many cases they wouldn't otherwise have to do meaningful work in communities. These are the numbers that I keep saying over and over. Many of you who've heard me present on RCP before keep seeing updated versions of these numbers as we get the final numbers of projects and courses and students and colleges. This is very exciting. I wish we had sort of lights to flash on this, because this is the thing that I want to keep repeating over and over, is this reach, the significance of doing a lot of important work in communities, and really connecting across the wide range of activities that are happening here at the university as well. Our work as RCP in doing this has been to be a collaborator, having an equal partnership with the City of Minnetonka as we define this project and figure out how to move forward. We've been a facilitator, helping with facilitation at the project level, at the course level, in ongoing relationships with the community, and in some cases with other stakeholders that the city has wanted to bring in. We've been a matchmaker, trying to find great matches with courses at the university between the projects that the city has identified. We've been a troubleshooter, dealing with data problems, transfer of data, transfer of information. There hasn't been a lot of trouble, but we've shot that trouble when it came up. Quality controller, we want to make sure that we're producing quality work for the city of Minnetonka. We're taking a look at projects that the students put forth, in some cases engaging those students again to package that work in a way that's most useful for the community. And we've also been a big promoter of the work that we're doing, but also the work that's happening in the city of Minnetonka. Minnetonka is clearly revealing itself as one of the leaders around sustainability. Their engagement of staff and resources around this partnership is a clear sign that they're one of the communities that really wants to push on this issue. And we've been very grateful for that opportunity to work with them. This is a lot of text on a slide, but I want to show you this because it really signifies the range of work that's happened. In the blue box on the left, you see the range of topics that we've addressed in the projects that we've worked on with the City of Minnetonka. On the right, you see most of the courses that we've worked with at the University of Minnesota. So a wide range of topics, from conservation development to transit-oriented development, neighborhood identities, post-development impacts, village center connections, a number of projects related to housing and water and energy. Matching those up with a huge range of courses, in many cases bringing together multiple courses to bring expertise to address those projects in a way that ultimately produces a really useful outcome for communities. I think Julie and Geraldine from the City of Minnetonka are going to talk about some of those projects and just give a little bit of additional insight on that. So I'm going to wrap up with just a few additional comments on why we're particularly excited about this. We think the work is great, but I think most exciting is that we see this as something different. In addition to the great work that's already happening at the university and the great work that's happening in communities. I think significantly, the fact that this is multiple projects over a sustained period. The ability to establish a long-term relationship, a long-term collaboration in a community, and work on multiple projects, and that body of work being able to significantly move communities forward in the work that they're doing around sustainability and resilience. The ability to complete 12, 15, 20 projects in a single community, but that community probably wouldn't otherwise be able to do in that short a period of time. That body of work, I think, is really significant. I think this is also different because it provides efficient access to the full range of experts across the University of Minnesota. I, in the past, had worked with the City of Minnetonka on single projects, maybe matching them with a course that I was working on. What we do with RCP is have the ability to reach more broadly across the faculty and bring together experts from a huge range of disciplines and from colleges to the problems, issues, opportunities that cities are addressing. I think we also have the potential to bring in internal and external partners, other stakeholders who may have information, resources, data, and who can really help the city and also help other communities to carry this work forward. I think also significant is that the folks who are engaged in RCP on the university side have important expertise in sustainability, in community planning, and that helps them. It provides a value added in terms of the ongoing coordination, the follow-up, the media support, and really ensuring that we get good projects out of this partnership. And I think on the University of Minnesota side, the significant piece is that this is opt-in. We're not making anyone do anything that they wouldn't want to do otherwise. We're not creating new courses. We're not forcing faculty to take on projects. Well, in some cases, we're asking students to do it. But they can choose not to register for a course. But for the most part, it's opt-in. And so that creates a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, and a really sort of positive feel, I think, associated with what we're doing. So 2 last points, I think, and that really gets to sort of the bigger issues, the bigger outcomes that I'm really excited about. And that's, 1, the ability to build long-term capacity for sustainable solutions and resilient institutions. So on the community side, I think we're excited to see that we're helping to foster internal and external collaboration, bringing together departments, getting staff to talk to each other about projects, and really maybe thinking about sustainability in a way that they haven't. I think we're able to complement local perspectives with sustainability expertise, certainly acknowledging the local knowledge and the local experience, bringing in expertise in I think, a legitimate way through a collaboration. And I think we're seeing impacts that go beyond the partner community. One of the things that we'll do this summer as we wrap up the work in Minnetonka is put all of the reports, all of the resources that were generated by these students on our website so that they're available to a broader set of communities. As we work, hopefully over the next 5, 10, 20 years, we can develop a body of work that can continue to serve as an important resource for other communities who are interested in sustainability. On the university side, we're motivated because I think we're training the next generation of practitioners who are interested in sustainability. We're building their skills and abilities to actually do work that can be called sustainability. I think we're building experience among students in doing community-based work, building understanding about how to do work that is sensitive to community interests, acknowledges local politics, acknowledges local constraints, and really builds, I think, a sense of knowledge that's really important as they go out into the work world. And I think building that experience for faculty who may not have that as well. Another key piece is that we're fostering innovation and engagement and cross-disciplinary collaboration. So what we're trying to do with this is facilitate sustained engagement, not just one-off projects, but doing work that is key, expert-informed and context-driven. We often see expert-driven as sort of a term we hear a lot. What we're trying to do with this is expert-informed, but continuously be conscious of the context in which we're working. And I think that partnership and collaboration that we've been able to achieve with Minnetonka has been really critical to actually being able to do that. We're building long-term community and university relationships. Just as we were starting lunch, we were talking about, can this work continue with Minnetonka? I think certainly. This is a relationship that exists. The university has new contacts within the city has new contacts at the university that extend beyond their initial network. And then finally, we're really driven by the goal of advancing sustainability and resilience. We're excited that we're doing community engagement. We're excited that we're connecting across disciplines, but it's bigger than that. And I think it's about advancing the practice of sustainability, the practice of resilience, bigger than the local projects, and I think even bigger than the student and faculty engagement. So we're really excited to share the work that we're doing and get some perspectives from some other folks at the university and the city of Minnetonka. So I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes. I'll be back at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to a few other folks. We have Geraldine Baroni here, who is the city manager at the city of Minnetonka, and Julie Wishnock, who's the community development director, and they're going to share some perspectives from Minnetonka. So thank you very much.
For those of you who didn't hear me last fall at the kickoff, I am a University of Minnesota alum, Humphrey School grad, and it's nice to be back on campus. I get those feelings of independence and wishing I didn't have this restrained schedule when I come back on campus. I would like to just be able to come and go. That's not the world I live in right now. But it is great to be back. Minnetonka is a community of woods, wet, and wetlands. Even though we're 50,000 and we're considered probably 95% developed, we are a lot of the amenities in our community about woods and wetlands. So this whole idea of sustainability fits right in with what we are as a community. And so when you look at the displays out in the foyer here, it hits right home with what we are all about as a community. I did want to talk about last fall when we had the kickoff. It seemed a little daunting to me that all these projects were going to be worked on by all these folks across the university and our staff as well. I have to tell you, walking in today, truly impressive. Thank you. Thank you to the students who worked on this. Thank you to our staff. It's truly impressive. Minnetonka has a really high value of being a regional partner, partnerships. You know, the world we live in now, and you heard it, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years as resources have been shrinking for everyone, how important it is to reach across and have partnerships. And for us, that's been a key value for many years. And so we jumped at this chance. It just seemed very natural for us to work with the university on this project. And we were very pleased that we were selected in your first year to be a part of that, because partnerships are truly important to us. It's thrilling to see the university and the partnerships you have internally. You know, we at the City of Minnetonka don't consider our various departments as silos, but rather as partnerships across lines. And so it's really great to see here at the university as well that you're able to do that, and that we can add to that synergy. And so it's really an exciting thing, I think, for our communities, not just Minnetonka and the university, but for the state of Minnesota as well. I did want to let you know that there were a couple things that I learned through this. One, especially today, I think we're going to have to invest in more street sweepers. And I was telling we're going to have to share this with our public works director, who oversees the street sweeping in Minnetonka. We do make a valiant effort on that every year. However, I see today that we may have to invest in a few more manpower hours to make sure that we keep our waters clean in Minnetonka. That was a very clear message I saw today. And another one that was really interesting, and this was after the first semester, we had a group come in and talk about neighborhoods. And I've been having this guilty feeling that we're not like St. Louis Park or Edina, who's gone through processes of identifying neighborhoods and having groups identify themselves, because Minnetonka's never really felt like that. And so I felt a little bit, oh, geez, are we going in that direction? People are going to resist. Shaking her head, yes. Are people going to resist that? And what was a really aha moment for me was this beehive concept, that people in our community don't necessarily identify with their neighborhoods, but they do identify with their church, with the senior center, with the even going to the grocery store, places in the community, if they're part of their schools. That's how they in Minnetonka connect with their neighbors and with people in the community. And a really real-life example of that brought all this to light is our Williston Fitness Center. That wasn't part of the study, but it's a good example of this beehive concept. And the Williston Fitness Center was an old private club in the mid-90s, and the owner came to the city and asked if we would buy it. We've always wanted a public swimming pool. It had a swimming pool, so we did it. We did buy it. And for a number of years, probably 15, 20 years, we've had that facility not in the greatest condition, greatest shape, but a couple of years ago we decided we needed to do some reinvestment in it, and so we did put about $4.5 million in it. Prior to that reinvestment, we had about 2,000 members. Today we have 8,000 within a couple of years. And we got this really gratifying email from, we've had to put limits on non-resident memberships. We're going to do that starting this summer, just because from a parking standpoint and a use standpoint, that's a problem. But what we're finding is that people love not just coming to work out, but it's a place where they can come. It doesn't matter their age or their family status, if they have little kids or if they're a grandpa. It doesn't matter that our staff welcomes them, and this is where they feel that community. And to me, that was that whole beehive concept that I heard. And so we can learn from that and think of other opportunities that we can bring our community members together. And that's a perfect example. And your work here has brought that to life for us. So I do appreciate the opportunity that we're able to work together and have this mutual partnership. I did want to give one last plug, and this is really for the students. For your instructors, though, it's something to think about. Please consider local government as a career option. We need your bright, brilliant creativity to bring to our cities, because we need you. This is what we do. We are, for one, we are the form of government closest to the people, and we make things happen. People come to us with ideas. We are able to talk about those. We don't have too much bureaucracy, and we can make things happen in a relatively quick period of time. And especially those of you who are in these multidisciplinary areas related to sustainability, we welcome your ideas and we welcome you to come to our cities and to work for us. So think about that as you're going down your career path, maybe not right away. And it doesn't mean that you have to work for a city. We work with many private consultants like engineering firms, for example. Civil engineering is a big one, that we work with those folks. We work with, I'm thinking of our natural resources folks who we work with private companies as well. So you don't necessarily have to work for a city, but think about how you can touch the everyday lives of people in communities by the career choices that you make. So with that, I thank you, and we're thrilled to be a part of this, and really it's been great to be in collaboration with you. So thank you. And so Julie.
Thank you, Geraldine. It's great to have a leader like Geraldine at the front of your city, because it does allow you to do things that aren't normally something you do. So we're excited to have that leadership at our city. But I want to talk a little bit more about what happened and maybe give you a little slice of what our year was like. And it was exciting, for one. I think what I was most struck by was a lot of the dedication that the students and also the faculty brought to this project. I'm not sure what I had in my mind last September, but I wasn't, I guess, ready for the amount of time and the workload that these people took on to make this project work. And I shouldn't just say project, it was a lot of projects. It wasn't just one. The other thing that struck me was that the students took each project very seriously, and they were very diligent about their work and really bringing new light to a lot of issues that we had struggled with as a city over time. Some of the project ideas weren't totally fleshed out when the students arrived. We had put this list together last summer, and there were a lot of things on the list that we said, yes, we're struggling with that. We're not quite sure what we need. We don't know what the end product is, but we know we need to fix it. We need to have discussions about it. And so what was interesting is how everybody came together and were able to fix and provide a solution for the end product that the city was looking for. So that was very exciting. So let's talk about some of those exciting projects. First, the watershed analysis. As a non-civil engineering person, I actually found it very enlightening. It's very thick too. It's a lot of reading material, but I think that what was interesting about it, and I was looking at the boards again today, is water quality is so important to the city, and so some of the information that the students provided will be used obviously by the city to make some decisions, as Geraldine referred to with street sweeping. Also, the transit-oriented development, I can't wait for that session next week. As you know, Minnetonka is one of the communities where Southwest Light Rail is running through, and we're challenged by the new zoning and the kinds of procedures that we need to put in place to accept that kind of development and encourage that kind of transit-oriented development. So we're looking forward to the findings next week on that. Another interesting project, and there wasn't a board out there today about it, but it was the post-development critique. So this project was all about what do people think of a project after it was built. So a development project went in, it was hotly contested, there was a lot of public input, and so what do the neighbors think 2, 3, 4 years later after the development actually was built and in place for some time. And I find this particularly interesting since I sat through a 4.5-hour planning commission hearing last night on that development project. So I'm really interested to see what they have to say about what our processes are and what they could be as points for improvement. Housing density options and mid-price housing, there were boards out there about those projects. Those are very important to the city as we try to transform our community, provide diversity in housing. It's been a long-standing challenge for the city, but we know and we realize that our demographics are shifting and we need to address that now. Probably should have been 20 years ago, but here we are, and hopefully you're leading us to those answers. I really was most impressed by the students' ability to inspire us and to be excited again about some of these projects that we had kind of scratched our head about and not being able to figure out the solutions. And frankly, being frustrated by some of the research. It was daunting to try to take on some of these projects. So we were happy to see that. I do want to give a shout out to some of my colleagues at the City of Minnetonka. If you can all stand, anybody who is from the City of Minnetonka, can you please stand up and I can recognize you. Thank you. These are only a few of the people that worked on the project with the students, but they had a crucial role, particularly Lauren Gordon, our city planner from the city, and Jeff Thompson, if you can put a wave out there. Jeff was our project manager. Sometimes we were worried we wouldn't get things done, but Jeff kept us on track and kept us organized, so we appreciate his work. And also a special thank you to Dr. Shively Soderbeck and also Mike Greco and Barrett, of course, as you were a part of almost every meeting we were in. I think particularly those two, though, came out on very difficult winter days to speak to the League of Women Voters and to kind of get the word out about the projects that we were working on, so we do appreciate that. And as I talked about at the kickoff of this project, this is real information and it's solving, real problems that the city is facing. And I think that was the most important part about what we did here. And I really can't wait to bring some of this information back to the policy leaders of the city, the Planning Commission, the Economic Development Commission, some of those people that make those decisions about where we're going as a community. So for that, I thank you. I appreciate all the work that was done. Thanks.
Thanks, Julie and Geraldine, and the rest of the staff as well. So we want to hear a little bit from some folks at the University of Minnesota to talk about how this work fits into broader efforts that are going on related to graduate education, interdisciplinary education, and public engagement. So we're going to hear from Andy Furco, who's the Associate Vice President for Public Engagement at the University, and also Henning Schroeder, who's the Dean of the Graduate School. So
Thank you, Carissa, very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I have to be very honest, I'm having a very difficult time containing my enthusiasm for the Communities project. And in many ways, it embodies what we're trying to do as we are continuing to advance and institutionalize a contemporary 21st century approach to public engagement. So I just want to do a shout out and a thank you to all who've worked on the project, Carissa and Barry and Mike and everyone else. And also thank you to the City of Minnetonka for opening up your communities and your city to us and inviting us in and to partner with you. This is, community partnerships have always been part of higher education since our inception. In the 150 plus years that the university and many institutions of higher education have always had community partnered work, community involved work, work done in the communities. But what we're doing now is really trying to think a bit differently about how we do our public engagement work. And in 2000, this term of public engagement emerged. And it really brought with it a different conceptualization about how we partner. And I think the work that RCP does really embodies all of these contemporary notions of engagement. And in particular, one of the things that it has done is really not just made this work part of our mission here at the university, not just part of our public service outreach mission, right, where we think about our tripartite mission of research and teaching and public service, which is what most higher institutions of higher education focus on. Community partnered work has always been part of that public service outreach mission. And when you're at an institution like this, which is a research university, that work gets kind of marginalized. We do it, but it's kind of out there and it's a nice thing to do. And the 21st century approach to public engagement is really about saying it's not just part of our public service outreach mission, but it's also about fulfilling our mission as a research university, where we say we're going to produce knowledge that's going to benefit society, and doing that in partnership with community is a way to accomplish that. It's also about what we are as an institution of higher learning, where we offer more than 400 undergraduate and graduate degrees. And it's about engaging our students and our faculty through academic curriculum in partnership with community to educate our students in meaningful ways. And so this contemporary approach to public engagement cuts across all parts of our tripartite mission of research and teaching and public service. And that means it's the work of everyone. It's not just the work of some units or some programs, but it's everyone's work, and it's part of what we do as being part of the university. It's also part of a different approach of the contemporary, is that it's not just doing to community or for community or even in the community, but it's doing with community. And with that comes an acknowledgement that not all expertise resides within the academy. I'm sorry, those of us who are in the academy. But that there's knowledge and expertise and assets and all these important contributions that we can all make to this enterprise. And within the community, there's much for us to learn within the academy. And so this partnership, this mutual benefits, reciprocal kinds of partnerships of what we're looking at. And that's the kind of work that I think is embodied in what RCP is accomplishing and working toward. And I'd say another very important part of the contemporary public engagement agenda is that it's about moving from projects to partnerships. You know, typically the way community engagement has worked in higher education is we get a grant, and it has a 3-year grant cycle. And we start a partnership with the community, and we do the project, and at the end of the grant we say, thank you very much, it's been great working with you, and off we go. And what we're doing with the contemporary public engagement agenda is we're saying we're moving from projects to partnerships. It's about looking at these big, complex, multifaceted issues. And no one project is going to be able to tackle these very complex issues. But it is the collective action of many different initiatives and projects over a sustained period of time that's going to really move the dial and make the difference. And I think this is what RCP has embedded in sort of its philosophy about how we do this work. It's not just the one project that's going to matter, but it's the collection of those projects. And it's that moving towards that partnership approach to look at sustained work that really embodies what contemporary public engagement is all about. So I just want to say I'm very, very excited to see this. This is exactly the kind of work that we want to do that's interdisciplinary, brings together students and faculty from across the university, and working in partnership from members throughout the community to work synergistically, collectively, towards a common goal and common set of action, and tackling the real challenging, important, difficult issues, the thorny issues that we need to address. So I just want to say thank you very much for helping us to build a truly engaged university for the 21st century. I commend you on the great success that you've done during this pilot year. I'm amazed at what you've been able to accomplish. I just regret I didn't get a chance to get through all of the posters. And I very much look forward to working with you in the coming years as we continue to grow and expand this initiative. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's very exciting and thrilling to be here and to see all these wonderful projects and posters and activities around RCP. I'm really very impressed. In 2010, through a competitive process, the graduate school approved the creation of an interdisciplinary graduate group, which was called the Sustainability Faculty Network, and allocated modest funding, I would even say it was very modest funding, to support the network in pursuit of its stated goal, which was to explore curricular and programmatic opportunities for graduate education and sustainability. We expected the network to undertake activities that would benefit faculty and grad students from many disciplines, but we did not imagine, that's a very modest amount of funding, the breadth of interdisciplinary efforts around issues of sustainability, the depth of engagement, or the scale of the initiatives, see them out here, that have developed as a result of the network. The network is a grassroots collaborative that now comprises over 60 faculty from a broad array of disciplines and engages many graduate and undergraduate students who are equally broad in their disciplinary roots. So what are interdisciplinary graduate groups and why are they important also within the university structure as well as for the community? Well, we know that some of the most interesting questions arise at the intersection of traditional disciplines. And the most vexing and challenging problems that we face today and we will face in the future cannot be solved by scholars or researchers that work in isolation in the traditional disciplines. These problems require, and sustainability is a prime example, knowledge, perspectives, and methodologies of multiple disciplines and individuals. So these interdisciplinary graduate groups position faculty and students to take on these problems that no longer can be solved in disciplinary isolation or sequestration. Well, what these groups do are the following things. They facilitate collaboration among faculty, staff, and students with similar interests. They are a means to organize faculty and students around common intellectual interests at the intersection of those disciplines. And they do this in a way that transcends the usual academic structures. And you know academic structures can be rigid, of departments, colleges, and graduate programs. And here's something where I think sustainability clearly has relevance and impact on how we do graduate education, or how are we going to reform graduate education. Because these interdisciplinary graduate groups are drivers, some of them, of PhD education reform. These groups have come up on our campus with new ideas to change the traditional disciplinary, all-comprehensive PhD curriculum, which for a number of reasons is in the future probably not sustainable. Speaking about sustainability, they are proposing things like theme-based, more interdisciplinary PhD programs where students are moving through an inquiry from day one rather than moving through a set requirement of classes or coursework requirements. So those are things that make those groups dear to us as they're dear to the community. The Sustainability Faculty Network, which contributed to this creation of RCP, is truly something that can be viewed as an exemplar of an interdisciplinary graduate group. And I would finally say, or ask the question, what are RCP's contributions to interdisciplinary graduate education? RCP offers a rich educational and developmental experience that no graduate student could receive in a single field or program of study. Students are introduced to a very diverse set of faculty, to ways of thinking about sustainability issues that students would not find within the confines of a single discipline. Students are given the opportunity to develop skills and learn the value of public engagement, and opportunities to practice and hone these skills. Also, RCP identifies an extensive, and we've seen the slide, Carissa's slides, extensive and cohesive courses from which students may select courses that they would otherwise not be able to do. And at a time when traditional university budget models and organizational structures are viewed by many as a barrier, and they are barriers in many ways, to interdisciplinary education, the RCP truly succeeds outside of these models and structures by drawing on existing courses and faculty and bringing them all together by organizing these in new ways to achieve new goals. And with that, I can only say by all measures, RCP is an incredible success story, and I'm very pleased to join you in celebrating its success today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Schroeder. My name is Mike Greco, and I want to welcome all of you this afternoon. I'm the program manager for the Resilient Communities Project. So I've had the privilege, and it really has been a privilege over the past year, to work with all of the staff at the City of Minnetonka and most of the faculty and students who've participated in these projects. And this day has really been about celebrating the work that we've done this past year, thanking our partners, And I would like to add my thanks. I think we couldn't have really asked for a better partnership, for a better city to partner with. It might surprise you to learn that during this first year, everything did not go perfectly. And the city staff were very gracious and patient as we worked out a lot of the administrative pieces of the program, and equally, faculty and students have been very gracious in partnering with us and taking that leap of faith in this program. So I'd like to thank the City of Minnetonka and all of the staff for all they've done this year. And I also want to talk a little bit about and introduce our next community partner. And I promise I only have one slide, if I can get it to work. Did I just go right past it? You get to see it. All right. I wanted to talk a little bit about the process by which we chose our next city partner, the city of North St. Paul, who I think we're also very fortunate to be able to work with as our next partner. We issued a request for proposals last November, asking communities who were interested in working with us to put together a fairly lengthy and detailed proposal for why they wanted to work with our program, the types of projects they wanted to work on, what city goals these projects would help to accomplish. And we were extremely pleased to get 7 very, very good proposals from communities throughout the Twin Cities Metro. We also asked communities for this next year to provide some financial contribution to the partnership. Obviously, this work requires a lot of staff time and does cost money. And so we didn't name an amount. We just asked communities to identify an amount they thought was appropriate for the kind of work that we would produce. And we were really pleased to see pledges of financial contribution ranging from $20,000 to, in one case, $160,000 for the year. And we really think that speaks to the value of the work that we do and how communities see the value in the work that we do. We also were pleased to see more than 200 projects identified by those communities. And so I think it demonstrates the latent interest in this kind of work, this kind of community-engaged work, this focus on sustainability and resilience. North St. Paul, the city of North St. Paul, which we chose as our next partner, all the proposals were solid, were very good, and I think we would have been privileged to work with any of those communities. But the city of North St. Paul's application really struck us in a couple of ways, in terms of the range of projects that they identified, the clear connections to strategic goals in the community over the next 5 years. These are projects that city staff are working on today and will continue to address long after we're gone. And also the commitment to sustainability. Like every community these days, North St. Paul is grappling with a lot of issues that challenge local governments. Demographic changes, a changing economy, financial constraints, global climate change. And so we were impressed by the way in which the city identified not only the challenges, but the opportunities that all of these challenging issues presented. So I'm pleased to introduce from the city of North St. Paul, Nate Ahult, who will be the program coordinator for next year. So he will be ultimately managing all of the projects on the city side, quite a daunting task. And we're really pleased to be working with him. So Nate, if you could come up.
Thank you, Mike. You put it that way, I'm not sure if I'm excited to be here or nervous. All the above at this point. Certainly driving over here this afternoon, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. And as we had a chance to speak with several of the students, it was very apparent that I was extremely impressed with their work, their depth and knowledge of the projects that they worked on, and just became more and more excited about our opportunity over the next year. North St. Paul is a community of around 12,000 residents. We're quite dense in 3.1 square miles. We're a small community, so we're not the ones that had a $160,000 match. We are on the lower of that spectrum. But certainly we're excited to work with the University of Minnesota. We do have a history in our community of partnering with other organizations, and we're very pleased to work with the U of M on this project. So on behalf of the City of North St. Paul, our mayor and our council and all of our staff members, thank you for selecting us as a Resilient Community Partner, and we welcome you to our community. So we look forward to working with all of the staff and all of the students. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Nate. Thanks to everyone, thanks to all of the speakers. It was great to hear a variety of perspectives on this work. And thanks to everyone who is here today. I want to make a few specific thank yous, which are up here. First to Institute on the Environment and Center for Urban and Regional Affairs. Both, again, have been critical in allowing us to be able to do this work. City of Minnetonka and the staff, you already stood up once, so I'm not going to make you stand up again. But especially to Jeff Thompson, who's been really critical to making this work and in continuous communication and doesn't mind doing things at the last minute, which he is doing for me today as we submit an award application that's due at 4:30. So thank you for being accommodating and helpful and just amazing as a partner. Thanks to the University of Minnesota students and faculty. If you don't mind just standing up, you met some of them out by the posters, but just stand up for a minute so you can see who you are. Sample of the faculty and students who were engaged, as you saw from the numbers we showed before. So thank you guys for being here and for all of the great work. And thanks also to the RCP Advisory Committee. We have a small advisory committee, some folks within the university and outside who've been very helpful in helping us think about strategy and work that we're doing going forward, and also the RCP staff. So if the advisory committee folks who are here, so folks who reviewed our proposals as well that we received. So thank you very much. Acknowledge the RCP staff. So we have Mike Greco, who you met, who's the program manager, and Barrett Colombo, who's the program coordinator. They have done tons of work this year, well beyond their allocated time, and have just done a tremendous job in helping to organize this event, but organize everything else that we've been doing, and really the critical communicators and partners with the work that's happening on the ground in Minnetonka. So thanks, you guys. Thank you for being here. We're so glad you could make it, and we'd love to chat a bit more about the posters, hang out, whatever works for you. So enjoy your Friday. Thank you.